Is it possible that a local sheriff is going to try to charge Ron DeSantis or someone else in his inner circle? They haven't named names yet. With a crime for the transport of these migrants? This is obviously a breaking news story. We have two guests here who are joining us on other stories. We've asked them to weigh in on this one as well. Mark Betterow, former Manhattan Assistant District Attorney. And we also have a man who may have a little bit more of a dog in this fight, immigration lawyer Michael Wilds. Thank you both for coming on the show. Appreciate it. Michael, let me start with you, because obviously immigration is your area. You end up representing a lot of these people. Are you surprised that a local sheriff is now recommending to the DA that they file charges?
Dan, this is like the Wild West on immigration. The deafening silence in Washington has resulted in every state of the union doing what it wants to do. And, the governor of Florida was strutting his stuff. In a very theatrical move, he took people who came into the United States and moved them from Texas to Massachusetts, to Martha's Vineyard. He had no legal authority as a governor to do that. And if he contracted with a vendor and they took action, absolutely. I'm a former federal prosecutor myself. If you take people and you give them the impression that they're going to get work, which is what was found, and they were just transporting them around the United States haphazardly, of course charges could be leveled, not only against the governor, but any of his emissaries and the vendor, the plane that moved people. This is just inhumane, in my opinion. These individuals, once they hit U.S. soil, are considered to be persons on U.S. soil, and we don't treat them like chattel. Now, knowing that Governor DeSantis was going to run for president, this is all theater.
So let me ask Mark Betterow about the
politics also.
About what happens now. All right. So the sheriff is recommending to the DA. The DA is also a Democrat. The sheriff's a Democrat. What does the DA do with this recommendation from the sheriff?
They review it and they either file charges or they don't. I mean, obviously you have to, if you're the DA, factor in, is this going on all around the country? It is. Are we going to set some form of precedent and bring charges potentially against the governor?
Can they do that? I mean, can a local municipality in Texas file charges against the governor of Florida?
Can they? Maybe. Should they? Probably not. If anything, the federal government should be looking into this, if anyone. But this reeks of politics, and given that migrants are being moved around the country every day, all over the country, from red states to blue states, if we start prosecuting public officials, it's just going to be...
But the claim in this case is that they were specifically misled, right? That's what made this different, according to the sheriff, is that they were told it was one thing, they were given vouchers and made promises, and that the migrants were misled. Does that change anything as a legal matter for you?
Well, if you still have to analyze it like a criminal case, are these credible witnesses? What is the evidence other than somebody saying, I thought I was going to get something better than I did when they shipped me out to Martha's Vineyard? So you still have to analyze it like any criminal case. But it's not any criminal case because there's also so much political baggage that potentially comes with it.
Let me play a piece of sound. This is previously from the sheriff talking about the possible charges on News Nation.
As we understand it, 48 migrants were lured, I will use the word lured, under false pretenses into staying at a hotel for a couple of days. They were taken by airplane. At a certain point, they were shuttled to an airplane where they were flown to Florida and then eventually flown to Martha's Vineyard.
Michael Wilds, it seems to me that the action was taken by the sheriff now because of this second set of migrants from the same vendor, right? Except this time they were sent to California. Maybe that's what led the sheriff to act now. I mean, we're talking about something that happened, whatever it was, 8-9 months ago.
I have to say the word lured is a very provocative term. Did these individuals know that they were being taken someplace? Were they kept there against their will? Were they promised something that was not truthful? What proof do they have?
Right.
My colleague is right. You really do need to vet the authenticity of the evidence and the kind of chain of custody, if you would, of what representations were made. And then if there is culpability, absolutely you should have people prosecuted. The vendor for the airplane is a more proper defendant, if you would. But this does smell from politics all the way around. Then when it was done, and now when charges are going to be leveled, it's really just, again, shame on Congress for not taking up immigration and allowing 50 states to come up with 50 solutions.
And I think the two of you may be talking about different kinds of politics, but nevertheless, it does seem that politics involved. We're going to be talking to both of you later in the show about completely different topics. So thank you both for jumping in on this breaking news story. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Thank you.